The story opens with an Amazonian legend about the tears of the moon, a mystical tree said to hold incredible powers of healing and the ability to lift any curse with just a single petal of its blossom. Adventurers had sought it for centuries, but none more determined than the conquistador Aguirre. He and his men braved the unforgiving jungle in search of the tree, but when they finally came across its guardians, things took a dark turn. The guardians nursed Aguirre back to health after he collapsed from exhaustion, but as soon as he regained his strength, he demanded they hand over the arrowhead, a sacred relic said to be the key to finding the tree. When they refused, Aguirre attacked them only to be cursed along with his men, forever bound to the Amazon River, never able to leave. Generations later, McGregor is retelling the legend to a prestigious society, pointing out the tree's possible location on a map. He asks for access to the arrowhead, which the society keeps among its collection of priceless artifacts, so he and his sister can launch an expedition. But it's clear he isn't the one who wrote the speech. His sister Lily is up in the rafters, mouthing the words for him. When it becomes obvious the society won't agree, Lily decides to take action herself while McGregor distracts them. She sneaks through the society's halls with a map in hand, looking for the artifact room, when she runs into Prince Joachim. He assumes she's simply lost and lets her pass, not realizing she's after the very same relic. Inside the artifact chamber, Lily disguises herself in men's clothing to avoid suspicion and quickly locates the crate containing the arrowhead. Just as she takes it, Joachim arrives with other members of the society. They open the crate only to find it empty, and Joachim catches sight of Lily fleeing the scene. He orders the men to stop her, but she fights them off with clever moves and sheer determination. Eventually, Joachim corners her and sends her tumbling down the library steps and out through a window. She clings on desperately as Joachim loosens the ropes supporting the steps, trying to make her fall. He demands she hand over the arrowhead, and Lily tricks him by tossing him the empty box before dropping into a passing bus that McGregor has stopped for her escape. Joachim discovers the arrowhead is gone and, enraged, kills every society member in the room after learning who Lily is. Later, Lily and McGregor prepare for their expedition to the Amazon, convinced that finding the tears of the moon will allow them to cure countless diseases. With their route mapped, all they need is a boat and a skipper. Meanwhile, deep in the Amazon, a scrappy con man named Frank is running a rickety river cruise, duping English tourists into believing they're on a dangerous adventure. He stages attacks with the help of a local tribe and plays up the idea that everything in the Amazon can kill you, to squeeze extra cash out of them. Lily and McGregor soon arrive in the bustling river town where Frank operates. Lily sets off to find Nilo, a man who seems to control most of the boats in the harbor. Nilo, however, is busy confronting Frank, who still owes him money. When Frank can't pay, Nilo confiscates his engine, locking it away until the debt is settled. While searching separately, Lily stumbles upon Frank in Nilo's office. He's broken in to steal the engine key and pretends to be Nilo when Lily starts asking about river guides. Thinking she's landed the right man, Lily explains she needs someone to take her deep into the jungle and that she can pay handsomely. Seeing an opportunity, Frank plays along asking about her map. She proudly says it was drawn by Aguirre's own cartographer 4 centuries ago and belonged to her late father, who told her the legend as a child. Frank laughs it off and suggests she pick a less dangerous adventure. But when Lily notices him reaching for the locked box with his boat key, she opens it for him. That's all the convincing Frank needs. He decides to take the job. He brings her into a local restaurant to finalize the deal, but things get messy when McGregor arrives with the real Nilo. Realizing she's been tricked, Lily storms out, though Frank catches sight of the arrowhead hanging around her neck. Now more determined than ever to take her on, he undercuts Nilo's price again and again until a staged jaguar attack changes everything. A massive jaguar bursts into the restaurant, sending Nilo running for cover while Frank throws himself into action. After a rough struggle, he outsmarts the animal with a slab of meat. Lily is impressed by his bravery and resourcefulness, deciding on the spot that he's the man for the journey. Soon after, Frank collects the siblings at the dock. But things take a dangerous turn when Joachim's men ambush them. Lily is briefly captured, but through her quick thinking and agility, she escapes in a daring chase through the town. She reunites with Frank and McGregor just as Frank launches the boat to escape Nilo's thugs. Joachim, furious at the failed capture, surfaces in a submarine. Obsessed with finding the tree to give Germany an edge in the war, he orders the vessel to attack. He fires on Frank's boat, then launches a torpedo, but Frank pulls off a slick maneuver, causing the sub's propeller to snag on a rope. The submarine smashes into the dock, obliterating all of Nilo's ships, while Frank and his passengers sail free into the jungle. The journey upriver is anything but smooth. McGregor struggles with the blistering heat and constant discomfort, while Lily thrives on the thrill of adventure. She films everything on her handheld camera, including Frank, who playfully tries it out himself. Sparks begin to fly between them, though Frank brushes it off. When Lily insists they take a riskier, faster route, Frank reluctantly agrees, and they plunge into treacherous rapids. He expertly maneuvers through crashing waves and near-fatal drops, eventually steering them back into calm waters, though not before everyone, including Frank's pet jaguar Proxima, is left seasick over the side. That night, Frank anchors the boat to let the engine rest. As McGregor turns in, Frank and Lily spend some time together on deck, slowly warming to each other. But the peace doesn't last. McGregor accidentally draws Proxima up from below, only for Frank to command her like a trained pet. Lily is furious when she realizes the jaguar attack in the restaurant was a staged trick. Any trust she had in Frank seems shattered. Meanwhile, Joaquin changes tactics. Determined to find the Tears of the Moon, he locates the cursed conquistador's prison. Approaching Aguirre's petrified body, Joaquin pours river water over it, awakening him. Two snakes slither from Aguirre's form, revealing his cursed bond with the jungle. Joaquin makes a deal with him: find the arrowhead and both of their goals will be achieved. Bound by his oath, Aguirre agrees, and Joaquin frees him and his men from their entrapment. Back on the river, Frank leads his passengers into the rapids. Though Lily is terrified, she insists they push through. Later, while gathering wood for the engine, McGregor admits to Frank that he isn't really built for this kind of adventure. He confesses that after he came out as gay, the rest of his family turned their backs on him, except for Lily. She stayed by his side, and for that he'd follow her anywhere. Meanwhile, Lily snoops around Frank's cabin and finds his personal collection of maps, journals, and research about the Tears of the Moon. Confronting him about it, she accuses him of wanting the tree for himself. Frank admits that he once did, but claims those days are long behind him. The tree was the reason he first came to the Amazon, but things have changed. While still sailing upriver, Frank explains that he spent centuries searching for the Tears of the Moon but never found it. Just as things seem calm, their boat is suddenly ambushed by one of the local tribes Frank has on his payroll. They go along with his ruse for Lily and McGregor's benefit, with Frank pretending to translate between them and the chief. But Lily pushes too hard with her questions and the chief drops the act. Both Lily and McGregor are furious when they realize Frank tricked them again. Later, Lily approaches the chief privately and asks for help translating the markings on the arrowhead. The chief explains that the carvings mean the seeker must turn water into stone and mend a broken heart. She also reveals that the tree only blooms under a rare lunar event called the Crying Moon, which will occur in 2 days. Finally, she tells Lily that the way to the tree is by following the image of a serpent biting its own tail, something Lily remembers seeing on her father's map. Believing she can reach the tree without Frank, she pays him the remainder of his fee, planning to leave him behind. That night, the cursed conquistadors storm the village. Chaos erupts as Aguirre and his men search for the arrowhead. Frank, Lily, and McGregor each end up battling a different conquistador. One of them rips the arrowhead from Lily's neck and hands it to Aguirre. The soldier tries to flee, but Frank intercepts him. In the struggle, Frank is stabbed. With his last strength, he wrenches the arrowhead away and tosses it back to Lily before collapsing through the trees. The chief helps Lily and McGregor escape, urging them to stay out of the river's sight, since the conquistadors are bound to it by the curse. Lily runs, but Aguirre's snakes coil around her. Before he can strike, the jungle itself drags him and his men back to the river. Furious, Aguirre realizes he needs Joaquin's help to continue the hunt, and one of his men sends bees to deliver a message. At dawn, Lily finds Frank alive. She's overjoyed, but McGregor notices a dagger still sticking out of his back. With no way to hide the truth any longer, Frank admits that he was one of Aguirre's conquistadors. Stunned, Lily pulls the blade free, yet Frank remains unhurt. McGregor faints at the sight. When he wakes, Lily tells him goodbye. From here on, she'll be traveling alone with Frank. Meanwhile, Joaquin receives Aguirre's bees aboard his submarine. In a bizarre scene, he manages to communicate with them as they reveal the arrowhead's location. Back on their boat, Frank and Lily talk as they continue upriver. He tells her he was Aguirre's best friend and worked as his cartographer. In fact, he's the one who drew the very map Lily inherited from her father. Aguirre's quest for the Tears of the Moon was driven by his desperation to save his dying daughter. But when Aguirre turned violent against the tribe that healed them, Frank couldn't stand by. He stopped him from killing the chieftain's daughter, who fled with the arrowhead, and in his rage Aguirre killed the chieftain. With his last breath the man cursed them all. For centuries afterward, Frank and Aguirre clashed, until Frank finally trapped Aguirre and his men in a cave where the jungle couldn't return them to the river. For 300 years the jungle tore them apart and reshaped them into the monsters they are now. Lily listens carefully, then asks Frank what he did during the centuries after. He tells her he built the town where she found him, gaining and losing countless friends. He searched endlessly for the tree until he gave up, turning instead to running cruises for tourists. Along the way he took in countless stray animals, especially big cats like Proxima, her name meaning next. Elsewhere, Joaquin captures McGregor and forces him to reveal the map's location of the Tears of the Moon. Once he has it, he eliminates Aguirre's bees to keep the information for himself. As Frank and Lily sail toward the same destination, Frank admits what he truly wants from the tree. With a petal in hand he could finally rest, ending his centuries-long life. The next day they arrive at a strange rock formation. Lily believes this is where water turns to stone. Frank dives down and discovers an ancient chamber with a lever, but he can't fit inside. Since Lily can't swim she's terrified, but Frank convinces her it's the only way. Together they dive down. Lily finds the chamber and pushes a lever, accidentally sealing herself in. As she panics, Frank kisses her to share air. She manages to push the lever, triggering the mechanism, but Frank is attacked by swarming piranhas. The water drains from the chamber, and Lily nearly drowns before Frank pulls her to safety. Furious, she slaps him the moment she revives. When the chamber empties, they discover the hidden location of the magical tree. But they're not alone. Joaquin arrives with McGregor as his hostage. Even worse, one of Aguirre's bees has followed them and rushes back to tell its master. Joaquin seizes the arrowhead and forces Frank to guide them into the cavern on his steamboat. They find the legendary tree, long dead and withered. Joaquin demands Lily make it bloom, but she refuses. Frank steps in, offering to help in exchange for a single petal. With no choice, Lily and Frank work together. They realize the arrowhead is actually a heart, which they split open to reveal a hidden piece. Placing the piece and the mended heart into the relief triggers the tree's magic. Under the crying moon, the tree bursts into radiant bloom. Just then Lily shoots Frank, sending him tumbling into the depths. Joaquin orders his men to strip the petals before the moon sets. While chaos breaks out, Frank frees McGregor, and with Proxima's help, they fight off Joaquin's men and retake the boat. Lily scrambles up the tree, desperately grabbing a single petal before the moonlight fades. But Joaquin corners her again, threatening her and her brother. As the tree begins to crumble, Lily drops the petal and clings to Joaquin to survive. Frank catches the petal just in time. Moments later, the conquistadors arrive and kill Joaquin, then turn their fury on Lily. Frank lures them away by showing the petal, drawing them into one last battle. He leaves McGregor on the surface with Proxima to protect him and Lily. Then he drives his boat straight toward the ancient monument, determined to end it all. The conquistadors swarm him, fighting desperately for the petal. Frank defeats them one by one until only Aguirre is left. Aguirre demands the petal again, but it's revealed that Frank slipped it to McGregor, who safely passes it to Lily. With no way out, Frank crashes the boat into the monument, blocking the river and sealing the cavern. The jungle claims Aguirre and his men once more, petrifying them into stone. Frank is taken too, finally succumbing to the curse. Lily rushes to him, devastated. She chooses to use the petal not for humanity, but to break Frank's curse. At first, nothing happens and Frank remains lifeless. Heartbroken, Lily and McGregor prepare to leave. Proxima sits waiting faithfully beside Frank's body. Just as they're about to go, Lily hears the jaguar roar. She turns to see Frank alive, freed at last. She runs into his arms, overjoyed. To their surprise, the tree gifts them one final petal before fading away. In the final moments, the group returns to town. They hand Nilo a small raft they used to get back, settling their debt. Back in London, Lily and Frank drive through the city together with Proxima happily sitting in the back seat. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss more stories like this. Thanks for watching.